Welcome back. Today I will tell you the tale of Arjun winning Draupadi, the fiery princess at the Great Swamvar, where kings failed but one arrow of destiny struck true. Arjun wins Draupadi, the Swamvar arrow shot. The kingdom of Panchal glittered with expectation. Its courtyards were adorned with garlands, drums beat with triumph, and the great pavilion stood decorated like the heavens themselves. For today was the Swamvar of Princess Draupadi, the maiden born of fire, whose beauty and destiny had already stirred whispers across Aryavarth. Kings, princes, and warriors from every corner of Bharatvarsh gathered, eager to win her hand. They came with pride swelling in their hearts, each convinced that fate itself had chosen them. At the center of the pavilion stood a great bow, so massive that no ordinary men could lift it. Suspended high above was a rotating disc, its face polished like a mirror. Upon the disc was mounted a small fish, its eye painted black as night. The challenge was clear. Suitor must string the bow, then shoot an arrow through the eye of the fish. But not by looking at it directly. He must gaze only into a vessel of still water below and strike the target by reflection. It was a test not of brute force alone, but of skill, patience, and divine focus. King Draupadi's father, sat upon his throne with mixed emotions. He had vowed that only the greatest warrior in the land could win his daughter, but deep within he hoped for one above all, the Pandavas, whose valor and dharma had already reached his ears. Yet at this time most believed the Pandavas to be dead, consumed in the fire of Varnavat. Draupadi stood at his side, radiant, her dark eyes calm yet searching. She was not merely a prize to be won, she was destiny itself. In her heart she prayed for a husband worthy of her spirit, one whose strength would be tempered by dharma. The Swamvar began. One by one kings approached the bow. First came Jarasandh of Magad, mighty and proud. With a roar he seized the bow, but it slipped from his grasp and crashed to the floor. The pavilion echoed with laughter and whispers. Next came Shalya of Madra, his frame broad, his pride broader still. He bent down, strained, and tugged with all his might, but the bow refused him. Sweat poured as he staggered back, defeated. Many tried, Shishupal of Chedi, Rukmi of Bhojakt, kings from Ang, Avanti, and Kosala. All failed. Their faces darkened with shame as whispers grew into murmurs. Is there none worthy of Draupadi? Then came Karan, the heroic son of a charioteer. Though the world knew him as Angraj, the king of Ang, his gait was steady, his arms strong as iron. Murmurs hushed as he strode forward, for many believed that if anyone could succeed, it would be Karan. He seized the bow and with ease strung it as though it was a toy. Gasps echoed the pavilion. Then lifting his gaze to the water's reflection, he prepared to shoot. But before the arrow could fly, Draupadi's voice rang out clear as a temple bell. I will not wed the son of a charioteer. A shocked silence followed. Karan's face burned with humiliation, his hands trembling. With a bitter laugh, he released the bow and strode back. His heart pierced deeper than any arrow. The pavilion buzzed with unease. Some accused Draupadi of cruelty, others defended her right of choice. Yet the challenge still stood unmet. At the moment, 5 Brahmins, humble in their dress yet noble in their bearing, sat quietly among the crowd. None knew that they were the Pandavas, alive and hidden after their escape from the house of Lac. Among them, Arjun, third of the brothers, watched the proceedings with calm and intensity. Bhim leaned towards him. Go, Parth. This test was made for you. Arjun rose. The hall fell into murmurs as the Brahmin youth approached the dais. Some laughed. A Brahmin? Can he even lift the bow? Others frowned. This is no place for the humble. He will only shame himself. Draupadi's gaze lingered on him, steady and unblinking. There was something in the way he moved, something more than ordinary. Arjun bowed to the assembly, then to the bow itself. With effortless gaze, he lifted it. Gasps echoed. Where kings and warriors had failed, the Brahmin youth bore it with ease. In a single motion, he strung it, his fingers sure as though the bow had always belonged to him. The pavilion was silent. Arjun's eyes narrowed upon the vessel of water. The fish above spun slowly, its eye glinting. Without one glancing upward, he fixed his gaze upon the reflection. Time seemed to still, the chants of the priests faded, the whispers ceased, even the air held its breath. He drew the bowstring, the arrow gleamed like lightning. With the release came a sound like thunder. The arrow flew straight, unerring, piercing the eye of the spinning fish. The crowd erupted, shouts, cries, gasps of disbelief thundered through the hall. The impossible had been done, not by kings, not by famed warriors, but by a Brahmin stranger. Draupadi's heart leapt. She stepped forward, her eyes bright as the fire from which she was born. In her hands she carried the garland of marriage. With graceful steps, she approached Arjun, her gaze never wavering. As she placed the garland around his neck, the pavilion rang with cheers and protests alike. Some kings praised his feat, others fumed with jealousies. Shouts rose. Who is he? A mere Brahmin? Is this fate's choice? But Draupadi's smile was radiant, her choice unwavering. In her heart, she knew that destiny had spoken. The defeated kings rose in fury. Shishupal, Jarasandh, and others shouted that they would not allow Panchal's princess to be wed to an unknown wanderer. Swords flashed, spears rattled, the hall shook with the threat of the battle. But Bhim, mighty as a mountain, rose to shield his brothers. His roar silenced the crowd. None dared step forward, for the fire in his eyes was more fearsome than 100 armies. Krishna of Dwaraka, seated among the guests, smiled knowingly, for he alone recognized Arjun. He alone understood the weaving of destiny, how Draupadi, born of fire, was fated to be the Pandavas' bride. As Draupadi and Arjun stood together, garland and bow binding their union, the hall seemed to tremble with prophecy. This was no mere marriage. It was the joining of fire and arrow, of destiny and dharma. For this union would arise both triumph and tragedy, both joy and sorrow. For Draupadi's insult years later would ignite the very war of Kurukshetra. But in that moment, the air was filled not with sorrow but with victory. Arjun had won Draupadi, and destiny had taken another step towards Kurukshetra. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And for more stories like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one with another twist, another tale, and another truth. Bye bye, see you very soon.